Hi there, my name's Dave and I love to talk about progressive rock to newbies and devotees alike. And in this video I'm looking at a new release from an artist whose last solo album came out over 34 years ago. More on that in a moment. But if you want to keep up to date with releases to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button. This is his first solo album in 34 years and it's a welcome return for Trevor Rabin, the man that best friend Chris Squire once described as, quote, the man responsible for resurrecting the back catalogue fortunes of Yes, end quote. When he joined in the 1980s, giving them a fresh lease of life at a time when the band were probably struggling a little bit. The album is called Rio and is named after his new granddaughter, and it's released on the prog go-to record label Inside Out, whom I'm indebted to for providing me with an advanced copy of this album to review. Thank you guys at Inside Out. It has 10 tracks on it and is about 55 minutes long, and it's released on Friday, October the 6th. So the opening track is called Big Mistake, and this was that big and bold start that was just required following such a lengthy absence. Although a little repetitive at times, there are shades of 90125 and also the Beatles in the music, and it's just a really great opener. I just love the random phone noise in there that appears for no apparent reason. Rabin's vocals do take a little adjustment time, and it does feel like there's a John Anderson in there who just wants to break out at any time, but that aside, it's a really strong start. I've done a full reaction to this one, so I'll leave a link in the description to that one and put a card up above. Push is the next track, and that's another that's previously been released, and there's a real prog feel to it this time. There's some clever guitar work and keyboards intermingled, and give it that real prog appeal. Again, the vocals are Anderson-esque, but that should in no way deter from what is a real standout on this album. It's all about political corruption, a topic close to the hearts of many around the world, but more so in South Africa based on its own political history. Again, there's a link to the description to watch this reaction and a card at the top. Oklahoma starts off with some nifty acoustic guitar playing before developing into a kind of pseudo-country type sound. Rabin's vocals sing at a place that has maybe held fond memories over the years. There's some deep bass pedals holding up the track before we are treated to a guitar solo that feels like a bird soaring on the wings of the day. At about 5.5 minutes, the tempo changes into the beginnings of the grand outro to the end of the song. This one will take a few more listens to get the best from it, I feel. Paradise starts off as a mighty rocker of a track, but then the vocals start and I'm shocked to be hearing an electronically enhanced wall of Rabin a cappella vocals, and I'm on the back foot straight away. I didn't see that coming. But thankfully we get into some proper singing in the verses. There is a definite likeness to perhaps a Def Leppard track from somewhere in the back of my memory, the title of which I can't seem to remember. It's quirky, but I think it just about works, and there's some really clever guitar in there in a nice instrumental break at around the 4-minute mark. There's some bop-bop-bops added into the backing vocals before a strange jazzy ending is then replaced with an Irish jig to finish. This track just doesn't seem to want to make up its mind, and I'm a bit disappointed with it. Tandy is the next track, starts off at 1,000,000 miles an hour before slowing to deliver the vocals. The opening animal noises set the scene, and there's a real rich, deep feel to the singing on this one, and has an Afrikaans feeling to it, with translation of the title meaning loved one or beloved. And it's a song about the seemingly out of control, illegal poaching of the country's rhino population, a cause close to Rabin's beliefs. There is no fear when he feels a political point needs to be made. In a recent interview, Rabin remarked on the musical variations on the album, and there was on occasions, I quote, chicken-picking guitar styles, end quote, used. The track Goodbye is a great example of another to start off at breakneck speed, and there's a real Beverly Hillbillies feel to it. Some of you may not be old enough to remember the reference, but it's such a bright and cheerful track despite the sombre sounding title. From the Beverly Hillbillies to a full a cappella introduction into the next track, Tumbleweed, which Rabin has described as, quote, "There are a lot of vocals and it took a while to do it because there's nothing manipulated. It is what it is. I wanted to ensure I kept that kind of sensibility going throughout the record. That was quite interesting and also hard work," end quote. Now it feels a bit Herbie Hancock to me, but soon kicks in okay. It's a love song that has a nice guitar sound to accompany it throughout. It's like one of those guitars you hear in a dance band of the 50s and 60s. You'll know what I mean when you hear the track. These Tears, it's a slow ballad and in all honesty drags along. It's not one of my favourite tracks, with rather screeching vocals and electric drum sounds, and a 10cc I'm Not In Love backy track. When I first heard it, I thought it was Suddenly, that rather annoying 87 track by Angry Anderson that was used when Scott and Charlene got married in Neighbours all those years ago, for those that remember. There are much better tracks on the album. Let me know if you feel this criticism is too harsh. Igoli starts brightly after that rather depressing previous track, and has Rabin singing like he was back in his 80s prime. Here Trevor is looking at the challenges that face South Africa after the end of apartheid, with the title of the track meaning the Zulu name for Johannesburg. Again, he's not frightened to challenge the political issues and says, quote, "This song is about how this great rainbow nation came about because of Mandela. Things were fantastic for a while. Unfortunately, South Africa has since become a kleptocracy. If you look at the politics of Johannesburg, it's really corrupt. It's turned into an absolute nightmare." So the song is really about that. It sounds like a kind of happy thing again, but with a dark lyric, end quote. And that is very true, because until you examine the lyrics, you could be mistaken for believing that happiness the music portrays. The album ends with a track called Toxic that starts off as a really heavy rocker. More digitised vocals accompany the verse, but it doesn't spoil it this time like on other tracks. It's got a simple bass to it, drum, guitar, blues sound that grabs attention. At around the 3-minute mark, after a great guitar lead, there are some more digi vocals, but changes of tempo and style keep interest active, and it ends as a strong end to this album. So, after a 30+ year wait for solo vocal material, Rabin delivers Rio, and by and large it's a very decent piece of work. Some of the vocals do leave me straining. Some of the music very occasionally gets a little bit repetitive, but I really like this one overall, and it's nice to get someone so influential from the 1980s modern progressive rock delivering material once more. So there you have it. These are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and if you have, remember to like the video. Check out the description boxes for ways to contact me, links to previous Trevor Rabin reactions, and I'll put a link to my Yes playlist to enjoy tracks he was involved with the band in the 1980s. Other than that, thank you for watching this video, and now please watch the one on screen now. I'll see you next time on the Album Review channel.